Good afternoon, Sir Amiruddin. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join my presentation today. Today, I will discuss my analysis of the amateur 2025. Postmodern Impressionist trailer directed by James Howes and starring Rami Malek. This film goes beyond the typical spy story. It explores deeper themes such as a personal grief, moral resistance, and cultural identity in the context of modern intelligence work. In particular, I will focus on two important themes: institutional apathy and cultural marginalization. Through selected scenes, I will provide evidence of how the film critiques the way powerful institutions handle individual suffering and how marginalized identities are often silenced or overlooked. So my goal is to highlight how the amateur becomes not just a story of revenge, but also a strong commentary on loyalty, truth, and the human cost of state's power. So, the amateur tells the story of Charles Heller, an Arab-American CIA cryptographer who goes rogue to find the terrorists responsible for his finance debt. His journey is not only about personal revenge, but also about confronting a system that ignores individual pain and suppresses cultural identities. That's why I will analyze 4 case scenes and provide evidence of this issue clearly. Alright, the first scene, the CIA briefing room. In the first scenes, Charles confronts his superiors at the CIA after his finance debt. So for the dialogue, I want to find and kill the people who murdered my wife. Here, Charles' raw grief is met with cold indifference. His bosses dismiss his pain and see his tragedy as a political inconvenience. These scenes provide strong evidence of institutional apathy, showing how current crisis priorities state interests over personal justice. Additionally, as an Arab American, Charles is marginalized and seen only as a technical asset, not as a true agent or moral individual. So, this highlights the issue of cultural marginalization within the institution. Let's move to the next scenes. The next scene is the safe house confrontation. In this scene, Charles seeks help from a contact in Eastern Europe and is forced to prove himself by pointing a gun at the man's chest. So the quote, "Point it at my chest. You are not a killer, Charlie." This moment provides evidence of cultural dislocation, showing that in this environment, power and respect come from direct action, not from formal training or a professional title. So his hesitation shows his emotional struggle and highlight the issue of the gap between Western ideals and the harsh realities in other cultural settings. Alright, let's move to the next scene. The third scene, confrontation with a former colleague. In Russia, Charles debates with a former CIA colleague who tries to convince him to come back. So the quote is, "Chuck, you killed 3 people. Are you done?" "No, I want the guy who pulled the trigger. I want him or I can't go home." This is a powerful confrontation of values. Charles refuses to return to a system that prioritizes loyalty over truth. So his transformation provides evidence of rejecting institutional logic, showing his commitment to personal justice and moral clarity instead of serving a good system. Alright, the next scenes, the widow of the inquilient. In this scenes, Charles meets the widow of a former HKB agent. So the quote is, "Accidental falls from windows are the number one cause of death of former HKB. You didn't know?" These scenes provide evidence of the connection between past and present issues, such as Cold War legacies that continue to shape modern intelligence work. The widow is not just a passive victim, but an active, strategic person who carries the legacy of espionage forward. This highlights the issue of hidden power and cultural knowledge. For the cultural marginalization across the scenes, Charles faced not only external threats, but also the internal struggle of being an outsider. And his Arab-American identity make him invisible or undervalued within the CIA. His emotions are dismissed as irrational instead of human. This provides clear evidence of cultural marginalization and show the issue of racism and bias inside powerful institutions. So for the institutional apathy, the CIA symbolizes as a system where human suffering is not important and is secondary to political plans. And Charles' journey provides evidence of how loyalty to such a system can destroy personal morals and emotional integrity. So, how about the conclusion? In conclusion, the amateur is more than a simple reference trailer. It is a complex exploration of moral conscience, cultural identity, and systematic indifference. Through the story of Charles Heller, the film exposes how institutions prioritize political interests over human lives and how marginalized individuals struggle to reclaim their voices within the system. by analyzing case scenes from the 10 CAI briefing to emotional encounters in Europe. We see strong evidence of issues related to betrayal, resistance, and the fight for justice. Ultimately, the amateur challenges us to reflect on what it means to stay loyal to a system, to their truth, or to our own humanity. I think there are many other films that have same issue, but I think this is the latest film and can inspire us to make we stronger and more powerful, and we can get a very valuable moral message for us in the future, especially for my lecturer, Mr. Amiruddin. Thank you very much for your knowledge and service so far, who have taught us. Hopefully, in this final semester, we will success and we will all graduate quickly with a bachelor degree in English literature, and the knowledge we have gained will be usable. And for all my friends, stay enthusiastic and fight to get the bachelor's degree that we dream of. Thank you very much, and thank you for attention. See you. Bye bye.